Welcome to the Family Dynasty Podcast, where legacy meets leadership. I'm your host, Matt Dewing, family guide, business advisor, and believer in generational purpose. Our aim is to inspire and equip you to lead your family so that together you will experience compounding wealth in all 7 capitals through the generations. Each week we uncover timeless wisdom, cultural dynamics, and practical tools to help you lead with vision, live with intentionality, and build a flourishing family that multiplies in impact. Let's get to work. The dynasty starts now. Welcome back to the Family Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dewing, and today we're recording from our home gym with 2 of my favorite people, my daughters, Alaina and Megan. Together, we're diving into capital number 2 of the 7 capitals of wealth, health wealth. When we talk about wealth, most people think about money. But biblically, wealth is much broader. In Hebrew, the word means a virtuous force, a life that multiplies good in every direction. That's why we frame wealth in 7 dimensions. And today we'll focus on how health, mental, physical, emotional, and even environmental, forms one of the core capitals of a flourishing family. Too often, health and wealth are set against each other. Maybe you've heard the saying that people spend up their health trying to gain wealth, only to spend down their wealth regaining their health. But that's not how it has to be. True wealth is not in opposition to health. Health itself is wealth. It's one of the most powerful ways we invest in our family's long-term dynasty. Now, full disclosure, I didn't give the girls much prep this week. We just jumped in. It's one of our shorter conversations, but honestly, this topic could be endless. Every family should be having conversations like this because health touches every part of who we are. Think of it this way. As human beings, we are mind, affections, body, will, and relational creatures. You can't really separate those parts. Philosophers may argue whether we're bipartite or tripartite beings, but the truth is our mental, physical, emotional, and environmental health constantly overlap. Investing in one area always pays dividends in the others. That's why we actually list mental health first. James Allen's classic work, As a Man Thinketh, reminds us. Your thoughts shape your character, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. If your mind is disciplined and oriented toward truth and virtue, your body, emotions, and even your environment begin to align with the same purpose. Now, if you're watching this episode on video, you'll notice something funny. Megan is barefoot. Happens every day here. It made me smile when I saw it because barefoot living has been part of our country life story for years. I used to be embarrassed when we'd show up in public and the kids had somehow lost their shoes or maybe never even left the house with them. But now I laugh at the memory. Fun personal fact, since 2008, I do almost all of my training barefoot. And almost my entire collection of shoes are zero heel rise or minimalist shoes. It's a small but powerful reminder that health shows up in the everyday choices we make. How we eat, how we move, how we rest, and even what we wear on our feet. Speaking of small decisions, I'm reminded that even my choice to record this while standing on a wobble board is an intentional health decision that plays into my strategy for pursuing my own personal health wealth and ultimately my family's health wealth as I play my part. So today we'll unpack some of those choices. We'll share personal stories, rabbit trail a bit into journaling for emotional health, and explore together how families can intentionally build their total health wealth. This is about much more than fitness. It's about shaping a life of abundance for generations to come. Let's get to it. Okay. Well, welcome to the Family Dynasty Podcast. Again, Alaina, it's great to have you here. Alaina.
Good to be here.
My oldest daughter, and Megan. Mm-hmm. My what?
5th.
4th daughter, 5th child.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. And today we're missing Ellie. Ellie was due a week ago. She still hasn't had the baby, but she is not in the mental frame of mind to be here today. Yeah. She wants this baby now. We all do. So today we are continuing this series in talking about the 7 capitals of wealth. And this is bringing us to number 2, which is health as wealth. The capital of wealth, we say, is health. So this is the only one of our capitals where we have subcapitals, right? We talk about mental health, physical health, emotional health, and environmental health. So we'll do our best to kind of hit on all of those facets. But remember, we talked about when we set these capitals up, we really believe the foundation is spiritual, and we build on that health, and then we go to relational will be our conversation next week, and so on. Why do you think health comes after spiritual before relational? You didn't really put this together, Sean and I did, but in your wisdom and your assessment, why do you think we would put health as the second of the foundation laying capitals? Why is it more important than when we get to intellectual or financial or social capital?
I think for you to function well, you need to be living in health to some aspect.
Yeah,
right.
There's not really a way that you can serve your family if you're constantly drained. You can't pour out if you're not healthy yourself. And I think in the view of aspect of family and being able to pour into the people around you and be present and serve, it's not really possible if you're not in a good place yourself, whether that's mental health, emotional health, or physical health.
That's right. That's right. And you think about it this from a capital standpoint. Why are we passionate about families growing capital? It's not just for the flourishing and blessing of the family. Honestly, that happens, and that's beautiful, but that's not what we're chasing. We're chasing this overflow, that as the family is filled to overflowing of spiritual wealth and everything else that we give out of that. And so I think you nailed it, Megan, that we can't live in our vibrancy that we're supposed to have if we don't take care of our bodies. If we're not taking care of our mind and our bodies. Yeah. Sure. Well, how have you integrated this, this pursuit of health yourselves? How's that going for you? How do you think about that? Because honestly, so a little bit of background, right, for the audience is that I'm a physical therapist by background, also an athletic trainer, and I was an athlete, right? Voted in high school class athlete, played college basketball for a little while, and always, just love athletics and love fitness and just have a personal interest in especially physical fitness. In a way, like, why are we talking about health? There's so many health podcasts out there today. Like, the information on how we can be healthy is at our fingertips more than ever before. Right? I know a few of the ones I love to listen to, Andrew Huberman or Peter Attia or this other guy is Ben Greenfield, right? And a few of these other people. There's tons of information that we can get to help us be healthier than ever. And yet, do you know that in America, when it comes to developed countries, we actually rank like 20th or 40th, or I don't have the statistics at my fingertip, but you think America is pretty advanced and we're a healthy society? Honestly, amongst developed countries, we rank very low in health. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why in America are we doing so poorly when it comes to physical health? Or you could talk about mental health. We're talking about a mental health crisis, really.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of what we consume, like the food we consume, the entertainment we consume. The entertainment affects our mental health and our emotional health. If you're constantly scrolling or, I don't know, just watch, whatever you're putting into your brain affects your health. And also what you're putting into your body through food, what you're eating. And I think a lot of Americans aren't as mindful. Some are. I think there's an awakening of some people who are looking for a holistic, way of living in the way they eat and eating more healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think our consumerism culture has also a lot to do with the food aspect of it and the way that, it's a stereotype that Americans are all obese, and it's kind of true.
McDonald's every
because
day.
of the food. I think that's a huge part of the physical health aspect.
Yeah, I'm grateful that in our society we are giving more attention to the ultra-processed food we intake. And as a society, right, it's what you said. When you take garbage in, your body's going to turn to garbage. And yeah, it's interesting that you say it from the mental health standpoint too, right? If we're not checking what we're consuming, through our eyes, ears, right, it's going to affect our mental health as well.
Yeah.
We did a change of scenery today. We're here in the gym, right? Trying to get a little of this vibe for health. So this has been a particular passion of mine. But, you know, for instance, I'm convinced that if someone has a conviction to say, you know what, I can be healthier and I want to take one next step, that many times we think, I got to get into the gym, I got to start exercising, when honestly, you can never out-train a bad diet. And so the first step should always be to think, what am I consuming? What is my nutrition? And the number one thing people should consider if they're drinking soda. Like if you want to take one next step, just eliminate soda. Right? If you only do that.
Or really cut it down. You don't have to 100% eliminate it, but.
Yeah, right, whatever, you know. I think if you're convinced you want to make a change, and this is a big part of it, right? Because if you're not convinced you want to make a change, you know, tune this off right now. Pick one thing at a time. Don't try to change many things. Anyway, I'm getting a little off track. What I wanted to say was, this is a passion of mine, but we haven't been particularly strict in our household, right? We eat sugar. We haven't had a strict diet necessarily. Now we try to eat whole foods, and we eat a lot of meals at home that are home cooked, and we eat pasture-raised, grass-fed, grass-finished beef that we have here on the farm. So I mean, I'm not saying that we aren't caring for the food we take in, but we keep Nutella on the shelf. And so we're not this fanatical family when it comes to health. We could do better. But where are you guys in that journey? Where does the thought of your physical, mental health? Let's just talk about those two.
Well, talking about the food we consume made me think of something the other night, because Ian and I grow a garden, and the other night we picked lettuce from our garden, topped it with raspberries from our garden. We had steak from the steer I raised, and there was something, a smoothie that had something we grew, and I was like, this meal is so good. It's like $1 million meal, and it's stuff we grew. In that moment, we felt really rich.
That's right.
And I know where this came from. I know where this came from. I'm putting stuff in my body that makes me feel good. I know where it came from. I know it's healthy for me, and that's a feeling of wealth.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful, right? Because you guys invest a lot of time in your gardening. You have this beautiful flower garden because you love to see the beauty, but also you're growing a lot of vegetables for your consumption, and no spray, right? No, you're not putting a Roundup on the farm.
Trying to do the regenerative farming as much as possible. Yeah.
And you got your whole herd of beef cattle down on the farm.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's something that we try to focus on, is healthy food that we consume.
Yeah. And I know historically you've grown up in a family where we can things and we freeze things. We'll go and pick fresh blueberries and put them in the freezer for the next year. And corn and different things like that we're buying locally and sourcing. So from that standpoint, you are seeing some of the healthier habits. How are you processing it, Megan? Do you think about it, or?
Yeah, I do. I think. Growing up, I never really thought of it, but nowadays it's called you lived in an ingredients household only, because an ingredients household.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. Because you didn't grow up with the processed snacks all the time.
And so your snacks were chocolate chips or a handful of berries or whatever.
Tortillas or something. But I think because we kind of grew up like that, I didn't know that it was any other way. Obviously, now that I'm older, I eat snacks and stuff, but I think it was. Can't remember what summer it was, but you were talking about how all of the health in your body stems from your diet, and I was dealing with really bad skin problems at the time, and from then on I've tried to be more conscious, especially since going to school, of having a more balanced diet. So that's something I've tried to incorporate more. And in high school, I did sports, and I was on the weightlifting club, and I really enjoyed that. I haven't been as strict in that area now, but I feel like I'm an active person and healthy in general.
That's great. Well, wow, you're listening to some of the things, because this is what happens in the house usually. Dad hears something, Dad learns something, and he'll be like, guys, did you know this? And the family's like rolling their eyes. There goes Dad with his crazy ideas. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but it sinks in a little bit. You know, one of the lines, I don't know if this is G.K. Chesterton, this is who I think said something along the lines of, you can't be truly healthy unless you have a healthy indifference to being healthy. What do you think about that statement? Does that make any sense? And okay, as you're thinking about that, contrast that with the person who is so focused on their health. They're absolutely obsessed with every calorie they eat, with the makeup of absolutely everything. Like it's an obsession with some people.
Yeah.
What do you think about that versus this line from Chesterton that says that true health is having a measure of indifference to health? Now, okay, do you know what G.K. Chesterton looked like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt. The dude was not a physically healthy man. What's your? And yeah, I think there's something to that statement. And maybe it's my way of coping with the fact that I am not as radically disciplined as I could be. I don't know.
I think some of that has to do with the mental mind that you're in. If you're obsessed with every calorie and you're tracking all of that, or I don't know, insanely looking at all of the ingredients on every product that you use, there can be obviously benefit to that, but it might not be as great for your mental side of health than just your physical, even though it could be improving your physical.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard someone say, you know, I take it as an 80-20. You know, 80% of my diet I try to keep really healthy. 20%, I'm going to go out. Like, I don't care if the ketchup is like
Has sugar
healthy
in it,
ketchup or
whatever.
not, whatever. If I'm eating a burger at a restaurant, I'll take what they give me, you know. If I'm out with friends, I'll go get ice cream. I'll, you know, that balance of, you know, as much as you can when you're cooking at home, eating at home, eat that 80% healthy, but don't be like 100% strict on it, unless you really have like strict dietary issues, like for health or whatever. But, you know,
Yeah.
live a little, have some fun.
And I think about, you know, you see these in the news where this 110-year-old woman says, oh, I've eaten a stick of butter every day my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm still smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think there is this measure of, you got to enjoy life too. And I love the sense, everything in moderation. Right?
Yeah.
In seasons too, right? Building in seasons of fasting as well as seasons of feasting is an important regiment in the health thing. Let's so we can talk about different aspects of mental, emotional health, environmental health, but let's kind of frame out to say, you know, each of us individually is on a journey of health. How does it look for a family that's on a collective pursuit for health? What ways can we encourage families to say, listen, think about your family as a system that is growing wealth, and think about your family as a system where you have a role, everyone in the family has a role of influencing others to be more healthy.
I think maybe a big thing would be regular meals together, because if you're always at a rush for dinner time, you're going to be eating out more often, you're going to be doing like quick microwave meals or something. But if you actually like make dinner time as a family intentional, you can prepare a meal, cook it, maybe cook it together, or at least enjoy it together, and have that like at least one healthy meal. And that doesn't just affect like your physical health, but like your mental and emotional health too, being together as a family, eating meals.
That's
Doesn't
great.
have to be every night, but majority of your week.
No, I think so. That's where my mind went too. Like if you're going to say how can I influence the health of my family? I think eating meals together, slowing the pace of life down to do that is a big one. Think of anything else that you want to mention? Megan?
That was where my mind went too, but maybe in a little bit more of an abstract way. You could plan activities like, I don't know, playing tennis as a family, or going to play some pickleball and being active together.
Yeah, a weekend bike ride.
Yeah.
We did that a lot growing up. And
Yeah.
that was always fun.
Yeah.
And I never saw that as
that.
like, oh, we got to go work out as a family, but it's like a fun activity that you can do that can be bonding, which is helping with emotional health as well.
Once in a while when we go on Sunday afternoon walks, I mean, when Ian and I have free time, we love to go on a walk. And after we're like, oh, that was so good. We need to walk more often.
Yeah.
Just an evening, just go out and walk.
I think too, I want to encourage parents to not fall into the trap of letting the kids lead our lives. I think this is in society, a lot of times we'll see whatever the kid wants to do, we kind of go along and do that. And you'll remember, especially Alaina, you'll see, the viewers will see Alaina's countenance on this one. We went through a season where we were just not eating meals together. It was when you guys were younger. You were a young to mid-teenager, but we were doing so many sports, and we were running every which way. I pitched this idea, guys, we're going to do this thing, family sport.
Yeah.
Right? And it did not go anywhere because the kids did not embrace it. But what we did was we said no to sports. We said, you know what, even if you and Grace really groused about it, we said we are going to prioritize our family meals. And we had this was, not just about our health as a family. It was about really our relational aspect. We were just too busy. We weren't relating well with one another. So we did about a 2-year season where we just stopped all those extraneous activities, and really it was a beautiful time. As hard as it was for you guys to give up some of those sports, it was a beautiful time of recentering and coming back to a lot more meals together, and that kind of thing. So just encouraging families. Sometimes you have to, you can't always add things, good things. There's a time where you have to say, something good has to go in order for us to prioritize what's best.
For sure.
Yeah, in the health realm. Well, mental health, what are some of the dynamics? Why are we in such a crisis in the Western world with mental health?
I think a lot of it has to do with the technological advancements and specifically social media. I think that's the leading problem with social health.
Yeah, you hear that on all the
health.
podcasts, the social media, the comparison game.
Yeah, comparison. Right. We had a podcast, we talked about loneliness, but just mental health. And I think mental health so much, we're going to talk about relationships in our next one, relational health. And I think that's so much a part of mental health and emotional health is saying no to the screen time to say more to FaceTime, right? Building the relationships.
Yeah, it's sad when you go out to a restaurant or somewhere and you see this family and everyone's just scrolling on their phones and not together. And like if they're doing it at a restaurant, what's it like at their home or anywhere? Like just, I don't know. There's something about the FOMO of missing out on something on their phone, but like why can't you, I don't know, people have a hard time being present.
Yeah, I think recovering too, kind of some of the old self-disciplines of reflection. In this society, it's so easy to just pick up the phone, go right to your news feed, start scrolling. When we need to purposely put that aside and have times of reflection, like daily times of how is it with my spirit? How is my soul? What happened yesterday? What can I learn from and what can I plan for today? We're not taking enough time for those kind of down moments and reflection. And I think we can do that corporately as a family too. Right? Have those individual times and then have those times of debrief the day. What was your highlight today? What was your low light today? And I think those kind of moments of connection can really help our mental and emotional health.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me think of journaling. I love to journal,
I
but
thought of that too.
Yeah, I've noticed seasons in my life where maybe I am not as disciplined in that area, and suddenly I get to a point where I realize that, I haven't even been processing my days because maybe I'm getting too busy or maybe I'm spending too much time on my phone. But then when I spend that time to actually sit and write out my thoughts and process them, I feel so much at a better place mentally than I did before.
It's like a way to decompress almost and process through everything.
You've been the best journaler. Since when? How old were you when you started journaling?
I think my first one was in 2010.
How old were you?
So 15. Well, no, that's 15 years ago. So I was about 15.
Oh, 15.
14.
14 you started. I remember daily. Do you still every day or you just, now that you're a mom?
Well, I still keep the everyday, but I don't do it every day. I try to, but
you might go 3 days and then catch up.
Yeah, but I'll keep notes on my phone of things I do and then I'll write it all out.
Nice.
So I still have an every single day. And I try to do it every day. But if I do skip 1 or 2 days, I'll go back and write 2 days worth of stuff.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you spend much time going back several years and reading them, or?
I have a couple times, yeah. But Ian likes to hear, oh, what did we do on our first date? Or, look back, what were we doing at this point last year? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and relive some of those special moments. Like on our 2-year anniversary, I went back and read what I wrote on our wedding day.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. I pulled one out sometime in the last year and read something from 10 or 15 years ago. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
And I have a memory of it, but as I was reading my notes from that time, like, I forgot that aspect. So it really is a beautiful thing to do. And then when you can pull them out and have these family conversations as well. Yeah. So of the different aspects of health wealth, we talked also, we brought in this concept of environmental health. What comes to mind with environmental health, and why should families even consider, kind of a self-assessment on not just physical, emotional, mental health, but also environmental health?
I think being out in the environment really, does something to your soul, to your body and mind.
Yeah.
The more I stay cooped up in the house, like, I just need to get outside.
Yeah.
Or like if you spend a day in the dirt, like digging in the dirt in early spring, you're like, oh, I feel so alive. That felt so good. Or just going on a walk. Leave your phone at home, going on a walk, and just absorbing the beauty around you. It's like, that was really good for me in multiple ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of it as do you have something you want to jump in with right now?
I was just going to mention the actual environment that you live in, your home. That could have to do with the people around you, but also your physical space around you and how that can affect your health.
Absolutely, right. I think in here we want to have people consider the clutter of their house. Can you just do an assessment of, because it's fairly known that the more clutter you live in, actually it has a negative effect on your emotional
They
state.
say the higher the clutter, the higher your stress levels, and that's definitely true for me. Like if every room has stuff laying around on it and it's just messy, it bugs me because I'm like, oh, I need a whole day to clean up. I don't have a whole day, and it just snowballs, and I'm mad because the house is a mess. And
Right.
so, the more clutter, the more stressed out you are.
So we're talking about this category, everything from what can I do today to declutter, to if I'm designing a home build, how can I as intentionally as possible think about how this space is going to foster family relationships and a sense of well-being. So anywhere from house designs to, even where am I going to live and what kind of lifestyle am I going to have? Like, say someday you meet Mr. Right and you're talking about where we're going to live. These decisions, are we going to live in the country? Are we going to live in the suburbs? Are we going to live in the city? And thinking about what kind of environment we're going to have in each of those, and depending on which you decide, how are we going to craft our spaces and our lifestyle. If we're going to be in New York City, are we going to be close to Central Park where we can enjoy a little bit of the outdoors? There's a lot that can go into this whole idea of really thinking through and being as intentional as possible with our environmental health, and recognizing that it contributes to emotional, mental, physical, relational health. All really, this area of health, again, is so foundational. Once we are focusing on really developing our spiritual capital, I think fine-tuning and improving all 4 of these areas of health.
Yeah. Another thought that came to mind was like your workplace. Kate was telling me the other day that where she works is such a negative place. She said, it affects my mood when I come home. Like, I'm working with people with such negative emotions that it's affecting me. And I know people can't always change their job if they're in a toxic work environment, but trying to foster those places of more of a healthy environment.
Absolutely.
Because that can really affect you if you're always in that negative space.
And part of it is just being aware of it as well.
Yeah.
If you are, then maybe you can help change.
Yeah, maybe you can make a
to an
change
extent.
to your environment instead of leaving it. Maybe you can help to foster change.
Yeah, you can change to an extent, but there may come a point where you just have to recognize, you can only do so much. If the whole culture, especially with Kate, right? She's 17. She's in an entry-level position. When she's there, I believe she is an influence for good. And I think it's a great experience for her. I'm glad she's doing this, right? And I think everyone should work in. It's not hard to find one. It's not hard to find a negative workplace. But I think it's
You can
good.
gain some character through it.
Yeah, there's some character that she's going through right now, and I'm glad she's in that environment. And we're helping her processes so that running away from it's not an option. right? Working through it. But there does come a point, I think, especially as you're improving your skills and you're focused on personal growth, your goal is to either get to a place where you can create the kind of culture for other people, where it's very positive, or at least get yourself to a point where you're valuable enough that you're sought after by places that do have a positive culture.
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, great. I know you girls are very healthy and so proud of you. And just look, I guess before we go, let's talk about the role of grandparents and family leaders just a little bit more. Because I think, again, so much in life is caught more than taught. And so we as a family, we don't sit down and have health lectures. Right? And if I do, it would just be a bunch of eye rolls. Right? When can we get out of here? So we're not really advocating that families, sit the family down and really go deep in lecturing about health. But for grandparents, not to underestimate the lifestyle that they're adopting, right? The little improvements that they make are going to be noticed by others. Moms and dads, same thing. All right, your kids are gonna take on your habits and do what you do. So, how would you say? I can go the other way too, right? As the rising generation gets a hold of ideas for being healthier, it can rub off on the older generation too, right? Have you seen that?
I don't know if I have.
Well, the freeze-dried candy is a big thing, and I think that
In our
kind
family.
in our family, and even
Is there anything healthy about freeze-dried candy?
no, but I think the kids being really into it caused Grandma and Grandpa to get a freeze dryer, but now they freeze dry fruit and herbs and different, and they open it up for the family to use. Like Grace was talking about going over and freeze drying basil. Grandma gave us a bag of freeze-dried strawberries for Andrew's birthday, which he loves. She's given us freeze-dried apples, and that's something, freeze-drying fresh fruits and vegetables is really healthy.
Yeah.
So they got that to share with the family.
You're right, and they would have never known anything about freeze-drying if you guys,
if the kids weren't
and
like,
your cousins,
freeze-dried Skittles are the best.
Yeah.
they're redeeming
true.
freeze-drying for healthy purposes. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So,
So I don't know if that's where it stemmed from, but I know I heard a lot of conversation about freeze-dried candy, and now they're doing different things with it.
great. Okay. Well, thank you, Alaina. Thank you, Megan, for joining us on this conversation. Very important conversation on improving a family's health wealth. Next time, we look forward to talking about our relational wealth.
Sounds great.
Till then, God bless.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on the Family Dynasty Podcast, where legacy is built, not just inherited. If today's episode helped you lead your family with greater vision or purpose, share it with someone else who's building a legacy that lasts. And remember, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant. Deuteronomy 8:18. Keep building with faith, leading with love, and living for impact. Your family is your greatest calling.